So you want to buy a luxury outlet village. You think it is just an open-air mall selling last season's Prada at a discount. But you are dead wrong. The most lucrative retail asset on planet Earth is not a glittering skyscraper in Manhattan. Nor is it a massive indoor shopping mall in Dubai. It is a fake, meticulously engineered European-style village built in the middle of absolute nowhere, right next to a highway exit. Think about this paradox for a second. Major luxury fashion brands protect their prestige like a sacred religion. They spend millions destroying unsold inventory just to prevent it from ever being discounted. Yet they willingly sign long-term leases inside these artificial countryside villages, handing over up to 20% of their daily sales to a landlord they can never publicly acknowledge. Why? Because luxury outlet villages are not retail real estate at all. They are financial illusion factories that extract maximum cash from human psychology while operating under a business model so predatory. It makes traditional retail look like a charity. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how this multi-billion-dollar machine actually works, and why owning one is the ultimate legal cash trap. To even step onto this playing field, you need capital that would make mid-sized hedge funds sweat. We are not talking about building a standard strip mall where you hire a contractor, lay down asphalt, and sign up a couple of fast food chains. No, a boutique, entry-level luxury outlet village with around 60 designer storefronts starts at a minimum price tag of $150 million. And that is assuming you get land for cheap. If you want to build a premier destination like Bicester Village outside London or Woodbury Common near New York, the entry cost easily skyrockets past $800 million, heading straight into the billion-dollar territory. Where does all that money go? Well, land acquisition is surprisingly the smallest piece of the puzzle because these properties are deliberately built 45 to 90 minutes away from major metropolitan centers. The real financial drain comes from infrastructure and brand negotiation. See, luxury brands like Burberry, Saint Laurent, and Balenciaga will not simply rent a box from you. They demand custom architectural facades, hyper-specific cobblestone paving, museum-grade security systems, and private VIP lounges hidden behind discreet doorways. Then come the hidden regulatory nightmares that kill most developers before ground is even broken. Regional governments are terrified of these mega-developments causing traffic paralysis on major highways. You, as the owner, are often forced to fund $50 million highway off-ramp expansions, dedicated transit hubs, and massive multi-level parking structures out of your own pocket. And then there is the ultimate hurdle: brand exclusivity covenants. Luxury conglomerates like LVMH and Kering hold all the leverage. If you cannot guarantee that at least 3 anchor brands join your village, no other brand will talk to you. Meaning you might spend $200 million on construction, only to end up with an empty, glorified ghost town. So, how does a luxury outlet village actually make back nearly $1 billion? You might assume the landlord collects a flat monthly rent check from every shop like a standard landlord, but that traditional model is practically dead here. Instead, luxury outlet operators run on a turnover rent structure, meaning they take a baseline foundational rent, plus a massive cut of 5 to 15% of every single dollar that passes through the cash registers. Think of it like a high-stakes casino. The outlet operator does not just own the building. They own a direct cut of the gambling table. To understand this operational metric, imagine running a bakery where you do not charge customers for the bread. You charge them 50 cents every time they take a bite, and if they do not eat fast enough, you replace them with a bigger eater who will. Luxury outlet landlords monitor tenant sales velocity down to the hour using integrated point-of-sale reporting systems. If a brand falls below a strict revenue per square foot threshold, the landlord holds the contractual right to instantly terminate their lease and kick them out. There is a huge misconception that these villages exist purely to liquidate clearance stock. The stuff nobody wanted during the normal retail season. The cold, hard, data-driven reality is far stranger. Over 70% of the merchandise sold in luxury outlet villages was never even shipped to a flagship store in Paris or Milan. It was manufactured specifically for the outlet. Brands use cheaper fabric blends, simplified stitching, and alternative factories to produce dedicated outlet lines, maintaining the visual prestige of the logo while keeping production costs ridiculously low. The outlet village owner knows this secret better than anyone, and they design the entire business ecosystem to exploit this artificial margin machine. Now step back for a second and look at how human behavior is manipulated the moment a visitor steps out of their car. This is engineered immersion at its absolute highest level. When you walk into a traditional luxury store on Fifth Avenue, the environment is imposing, formal, and intimidating. But inside an outlet village, every psychological barrier is systematically dismantled. The open-air, cottage-like architecture creates a resort-style holiday atmosphere, making shoppers feel relaxed, disarmed, and emotionally detached from their wallet. Notice how there are no straight lines or long grid streets. The walkways inside a premier outlet village are built with subtle curves and winding alleys. This visual isolation trick ensures you can never see the end of the street, forcing your brain to keep walking around the next corner out of pure curiosity. You are constantly surrounded by low-rise facades and manicured gardens, removing the feeling of being inside a commercial transaction zone. And then there is the deliberate isolation from public transport and quick exits. Because customers have traveled an hour or more to get here, a phenomenon known as sunk cost psychology takes over completely. The shopper thinks to themselves, "I drove 90 minutes and paid for gas. I cannot leave empty-handed." Every single detail, from the soft background lighting to the strategic placement of high-margin coffee shops and artisan ice cream stands, is calibrated to keep the average dwell time above 3 hours. Because every extra 30 minutes a visitor stays, their average spend increases by nearly 20%. But here is the strange part. If this business model is such an incredible money engine, why do billionaire developers still lose everything trying to build them? The reality is, operating a luxury outlet village is like walking a fine tightrope over an active volcano. Look at the disastrous case of the Xanadu project, later rebranded as American Dream, a mega retail and outlet experiment that burned through billions of dollars in debt. The developers fell victim to the ultimate sin, over-leveraging debt during an era of shifting consumer habits while miscalculating regional demographics. They assumed that building a massive, flashy complex would automatically attract ultra-high-end fashion tenants, but they took on unsustainable interest rates to finance extravagant attractions. When economic friction hit and interest rates surged, the revenue generated was instantly eaten alive by debt servicing costs, leaving lenders holding a multi-billion-dollar ghost asset that required constant financial bailouts just to keep the lights on. Then consider the second fatal mistake, misjudging the tenant ecosystem and product relevance. As seen in several failed regional outlet projects across Europe and North America, developers built stunning outdoor centers, but failed to secure true Tier 1 luxury anchors like Gucci, Prada, or Ralph Lauren. Instead, they filled the storefronts with mid-market fast fashion brands that customers could easily buy at their local suburban mall, or order online with free shipping. Without exclusive luxury pricing disparities and genuine prestige brands, the illusion shattered, foot traffic collapsed, and tenant turnover spiraled out of control, turning multi-million-dollar developments into derelict ruins of concrete and weeds. So let us run the ultimate financial simulation to see what the balance sheet actually looks like when everything runs perfectly. Imagine you invest $600 million to develop a flagship luxury outlet village featuring 100 designer stores. Your annual operating costs, including high-tech security, luxury estate management, international marketing campaigns, and continuous infrastructure maintenance, will run you roughly $40 million a year. On the revenue side, your village generates over $500 million in total tenant sales volume annually. Through a combination of base rent and turnover percentages, your direct revenue cut sits at around $85 million, plus another $15 million from high-margin secondary streams like premium parking fees, digital advertising screens, short-term pop-up brand venues, and sponsorship deals. That leaves you with a staggering gross revenue of $100 million and a net operating income of $60 million per year.